Welcome to the latest episode of the Real World Nutrition Podcast. This is episode 196, Hot Dogs, Ice Cream, and Real Life Moderation. Enjoying summer treats without the guilt. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Real World Nutrition Podcast. I'm Shelley, registered dietitian nutritionist, and your guide to eating well without the food drama. Now, I know I've talked about summer wellness and eating without guilt before, but today, we're getting to the fun stuff, summer treats and moderation. Because let's be honest, this time of year is filled with cookouts, ice cream trucks, s'mores around the fire, and if you're in the United States, the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on July 4th, which is one of those things that I just watch and yet horrified at the same time. We're talking dozens of hot dogs in 10 minutes. It's fascinating, as I said, horrifying. I feel like I want to throw up, and it's peak July 4th energy and kind of a profile of how things tend to go in the U.S. Maybe not over consuming that much food in 10 minutes, but that's just going to help me get to the starting point of what not to do. Obviously, most of us aren't eating that many hot dogs in 10 minutes, and maybe not even that many hot dogs in your entire life, but I do want to talk moderation. Moderation is a term that gets thrown around a lot. I know I use it. It's often used in a vague, just eat everything in moderation way that doesn't really help people figure out how to moderate. So what does moderation actually look like when it comes to summer treats or anything in the real world? Well, from my point of view, even as a dietitian, it doesn't mean you skip the hot dog and bring a salad to the cookout, unless you really want to. It doesn't mean saying no to dessert all summer. If you want to have marshmallows over the fire and throw them on a graham cracker with chocolate, great. And it definitely doesn't mean feeling guilty for enjoying food that's connected to fun, tradition, or community, and saying, oh, Shelley, cover your ears, or, oh, don't pay attention to this, or I don't usually do this. Moderation means looking at the big picture, your overall habits, your choices over time, not just one meal or one weekend. Now, I want to go back to Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, enter Exhibit A, back to Coney Island. Obviously, I don't recommend 60 plus hot dogs in 10 minutes or 11 and a half or whatever it is. But this contest highlights something important. When we view food as entertainment or a competition, we disconnect from listening to our body's cues. Of course, this contest is an annual spectacle. And yes, it makes for good TV. I get bothered that it's even played on a sports network because I don't think it's a sport. But we don't really need to go to that extreme at our baseline. And the goal isn't to never have a hot dog. Honestly, when I went to Coney Island, one thing I did was go to Nathan's and buy a hot dog. But really, it's thinking back, the stopping point when we're eating in general is to eat to a point when we're satisfied, not painful. And if you do end up overly full sometimes, it happens, right? It doesn't mean that you failed. It just means your body might give you some feedback. Listen, learn, move on. And when I say learn, that's like remembering how you felt right now. think about that next time, not with guilt, but say, hey, I wasn't feeling so great last time. Because I'll tell you, after I had that Nathan's hot dog in Coney Island, as fun as a bucket list experience as it was, about 4 hours later, I knew why I didn't eat hot dogs very often. Now, summer treats truly are often about the experience, not just hunger. The experience of going camping and you have the s'mores. That treat of going to the ball game and having the food there. That soft serve after a beach day, it's not always about physical hunger. It's about the moment, and that's okay. It used to be when we were on our way home from a camping trip, we would stop at the place that had the Dairy Queen and get an ice cream. Pretty much never, ever go to Dairy Queen at any other time, except for when we'd be coming home from camping. It was about the experience. So I want to say, let's talk about how we can make summer treats part of a balanced pattern. So first up, don't pre-restrict. That means don't tell yourself, I can't do this, I won't eat that, because when we say you can't have something, it does often backfire. Use satisfaction as a guide. A scoop or two might hit the spot, but you don't need 5. Here's a big one, eating without multitasking. So being present with your treat, that makes it more satisfying. And then skip the guilt. Seriously, guilt doesn't burn calories, it doesn't improve your health, and it certainly doesn't change the past. So I want to do a mindset check here with that all or nothing versus flexible thinking. So a huge part of moderation is mindset. The all or nothing thinking of, I already had the burger, might as well eat everything. That's what leads to regret. It's not the actual burger, it's that all or nothing thinking. I did this, so let's just keep going. So I encourage a reframe. And even if you don't eat burgers, whatever it may be in your experiences. So I'm going to use the burger example. So the reframe is, I had the burger. It was delicious. Now I'm satisfied. Done. No drama. That's it. It's pretty straightforward, yet at the same time, I acknowledge many people still have that food noise in their head of, well, let's go ahead and have the hot dog too. Let's go ahead and have more chips. Let's go ahead and have more. So this same goes for those treats. Whatever you consider a treat, enjoying something doesn't mean you've fallen off track. It hasn't. It's part of the journey. It's part of the track. So let's talk tips for navigating summer treats in real life. So let's talk about 5 practical strategies. I know I've talked about them before, but it's always great to have a reminder. First up, hydrate, especially in the heat. We sometimes confuse thirst for hunger. And yes, you can overhydrate. It's not likely. Just be mindful of this. Balance your plate. Add produce to that barbecue. Grilled veggies, fruit salad, anything. Not saying you have to have a salad and not eat whatever's on the grill. I'm saying find that balance. Choose favorites. Don't feel obligated to eat every option. Go for what you actually love. I recently was in a situation where potato salad was the main side to go with the burgers. I'm not a huge potato salad fan. And you know what? I didn't eat it. Most of the time, things are balanced, and yes, it would have been fine having it, but I don't care for it, so I didn't eat it. The other thing is don't skip meals. this is a very, very common thing. You've got that big barbecue later in the day. You've got the ball game you're going to. You've got whatever you're going to. So people will skip meals earlier in the day in anticipation of saving up their calories, when really that tends to backfire because you're more likely to overdo it if you end up in that eating episode or eating situation super hungry. And then take your time. Eating slowly helps your body register fullness. And for most of us, we are going to have another food experience. We are going to be able to eat later. So we don't need to rush to eat. We don't need to scarf our food. This isn't a competition. Yes, I've given the example of the hot dog eating contest. That's a competition. But us hanging out, doing socializing, or whatever we're doing this summer is not a competition. So what about this so-called clean eating pressures in summer? I hear people talk about this all the time. I need to start eating clean, or I'm eating clean. And you might see some summer cleanse trends or hear people talk about eating clean, especially after a weekend of the s'mores or the chips or whatever it may be. Now, first up, I honestly have no earthly idea what eating clean means. There is no definition of this. When I ask people what it means, they're like, well, of course, obviously it's this. Well, they weren't always able to articulate what exactly that is. I also encourage people to skip that guilt restriction cycle. You don't need to detox or earn your food. So when people say, oh, I need to detox, I'm like, well, maybe clean up your eating in the first place. And I know say clean up your eating, but if your diet is one where you feel you have to detox it from on a regular basis, maybe take a look at your eating patterns. And no, having meat doesn't need to have a detox the next day. I have seen that online where somebody said, I had this great steak, but now I need to detox. What? That doesn't make any sense. And you don't need to earn your food. Oh, I worked out today, so I get to have this. Or I ate this, so I have to burn it off. No, that's not how things need to work. Really, it's focusing on that consistency over time. Health is built on what we do most of the time. Health isn't make or break you today. So I say this all the time. The hot dog isn't what's going to ruin your health. It's how often you have those hot dogs. I say you're more likely to have a problem driving to the ball game than the actual eating at the ball game. When I say have a problem, you're at higher risk of having a injury or dying, and it's not, huge risk, but that food that you eat at the ball game isn't usually what's going to do somebody in. So again, health is what is done or is built on what we do most of the time. And trust me, if you can find somebody who eats perfectly, one, I want to know what that definition is. And two, I'd like to meet them because I call BS on that. So I just want to reiterate here, you can enjoy summer treats and support your health goals. Moderation is not restriction. It's about balance. And as I say, let's leave the 62 hot dogs or whatever new record might have been set on July 4th. Leave that to the professional food competition eaters or those questionable amateurs. It's funny to me. I always see those people who are amateurs who think they can win. Those people who win, they've got some kind of strategy. I don't know what it is. Don't really care what it is. But just, it's a whole segment of society, those eating competitions. But here's the thing. Your body knows what it needs if you give it a chance to tell you and you listen. So fire up the grill, grab a scoop of ice cream, maybe make your own ice cream. That's fun. And enjoy your summer eating without guilt. With that, I would love to hear of what you think of some of those food eating competitions, or two, you never really pay attention to them. Maybe you don't. I don't know why, but Nathan's is the one I tend to notice more. But thanks for listening to this week's episode of Real World Nutrition. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with somebody who's navigating some of that summer food decisions, guilt, or I shouldn't eat this or eat that. And if you want more practical, no BS nutrition tips, head on over to ShelleyRyel.com. I've got blogs galore there. I post 3 blogs a week to talk about all kinds of nutrition things that are trending. Sometimes I do series. Sometimes I pick up on something that people ask me about a lot, and so I write a blog about it. All right, everyone. Happy 4th of July for those of us who celebrate it here in the United States or observe it, the Independence Day that means. And until next time, take care and bye for now.